I just dropped my pin because I tipped it to show the camera. Now somebody on camera is like, you forgot the washer. Remember the washer that you said you have to have in there? You're right, I did. So I'm glad you caught that. Good for you. So take the washer and put that in there. If you have a little oil on it, it helps it to stay in place. So I put this together, take the block and assembly, all that stuff, stick it in there, get the splines to line up. Now these little plungers that are on the side here, I call them plungers or whatever you want to call them, they want to hit against this little cam right here. So make sure that as you put it down on there that they line up. You can see it's slotted to interface with them. Hydraulic pressure goes on that. So you don't want to scratch the surface. Make sure there's a little oil on it so you don't mess it up. But basically we're going to push the first plunger in and get the wedge started. And then we're going to slide down in there with the wedge. Now I'm pushing in on all these plungers on the motor. It's a little bit tricky, but you can do it. I forgot to show you the dowels. Let me take a minute and show you. You can see these little dowels right there and right here. There's none on the other one, just these two. The one that you see up close here and this one. So you want to make sure that you get those lined up or else they're going to fight you. I think that's probably where I'm hung up at the moment. It's a little bit tricky. It's not gunsmithing spring-loaded tricky, but you can see right there we've got that race, that washer out of whack. Alright, let's try again. I practiced this a couple of times, and then I took lunch and got talking politics and stuff, and apparently I forgot. Alright, so yeah, my pin's good, that's good. The washer's good because the shaft's going in all the way. We're in great shape. So I push in plunger number 1, rock the wedge block in a little bit, push it down a little, line up my shaft here, my neutral shaft, get the second plunger to clear, go down in there. There we go, it slid down. Had to pull the top side back and push down. Bop it in place and we're in. That's a keeper. It's not super easy, but it's certainly possible. Might take you a couple tries, but you'll get it. You take your bolts, drop them in there. Like I say, I'm not a motor medic one. Jeremy, he could probably tell you a lot more about this, but going to cinch that down, double check everything. I look down through the side here just to make sure that there's no gap, and there's not. Now double wide 6, he snapped this bolt off. He tried to torque it to, I believe it's 47 foot-pounds, and it snapped at about 43. He recommended that you just tighten it by hand. I think that's good counsel. They're designed to snap off if it's too tight. So I'm just going to snug these down. You can feel it really yield and bind down. Now on this, on the pump motor itself, it says T40. I don't know if you can see that, but that's probably the whole difference, is that this is a T40 and the other one says T46. Like the case and the gears and all that are going to be the same in either one, but apparently there is a difference. This block says T40 on it. If you talk to the folks at Tough Torque, I'm sure they'll be able to help you out and guide you in the right direction for that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clean rag or paper towel and some brake parts cleaner, and I'm going to do a little surface preparation. Let's take this towel first. Let's take a screwdriver to help give some pressure. We're just going to go through this thing. You're going to do silicone all the way around between the two, and that helps keep from getting gear filings from the differential into your pump and your motor. Wipe all the excess oil off both sides. I flushed this with brake clean. I got all of the old gasket material off that the guy did in his driveway. Is that gray stuff that just gets absolutely everywhere. It's good gasket material, but it's just a mess. I like to use Permatex Right stuff. It's so much nicer to work with, and it holds better in my opinion. Permatex Right stuff, it's hard to get off too, but it tends to hold together a little better. It's more rubbery. Alright, so clean all this stuff. Just go around it with the brake parts cleaner. It's real light. Just supplying some wetness there. We'll go around and wipe it down. I wish this stuff didn't smell so bad, but it sure cleans well. Make sure you're not getting any paper towel pieces anywhere, unless you don't care. Then by all means, go right ahead. Alright, so our pan is good. So the next thing we're going to do is spray the rag. So don't want to fill brake cleaner in here and have it ruin the viscosity of the oil. I'm just going to go around and wipe this down. I haven't put the rest of this stuff in yet because it would make this harder. Alright, now that our surface has been cleaned, our gasket maker, like I say, I always use Permatex Right stuff. I get paid nothing, $0 from them, but I should because I'm always pushing their product. Everybody is, they love it. Alright, maybe I'll put in my brake pads and stuff first here. This little bump block. This will only fit one way. It's not square, it's just rectangular. So that's in, magnets in. Those things are in. I'm going to put the gear in here in a minute. I'm just going to go around and do the gasket maker. You just want to do a beeline between the holes, just a real straight line. Try not to lock up your brake pads or get too much junk in there. That was done before. Now my plan was to just do this part on this because it's easier. You have better access. So I'm going to tie in there with a little wire, a T. Go around these. I did a little too much right there. I bet it's probably best to just put all the gasket material on this. This is way easier. Do a little tie-in T here. I'm just going to take a paintbrush and some oil, and I'm going to just do a little artwork here. Hardest part's getting oil into the pump, and that pretty much comes from submersing and running it in neutral when you put it back together. But on the motor, which already has some wear, we're going to try to protect it by putting some oil on it with a dollar store paintbrush. Just kind of fling it, sling it, try not to get it on the gasket material. Main thing you want to do is get your motor. This isn't even that critical because this is going to be dunked in oil. I know a lot of these are shipped dry to the manufacturer of the lawnmowers or whatever they go in, and then they put their own oil in it, dunk them and fire them up dry. I'm sure they don't care, they don't try. It's obvious, it's evident by the way they fail. Grab a little Q-tip here, do some more superstitious stuff with this, not necessary. Double check, final call. What am I forgetting? The filter! Son of a gun, you forgot the filter. Now we're going to have to tear up all that gasket material. I knew I was forgetting something. Final call, magnets in place, brake pads are there, this is here, everything's seated down, these have been torqued down, filters in place, filter butts up against this right here. Isn't that interesting? T40 R14. Huh. K46. T40. Let's take this, and of course that hung up just like I said it would. You just put that side on first. Just ease it on there. Give it a little whackety schmackety. Get our 12mm. Remember what I said when you go to put these together, you want to put your long bolts or middle bolts in first. So I went to my private stash, watching the gasket squish out the sides. So I went to my private stash and got one that's 12mm because that makes me happy. I hate having to get extra sockets and stuff out because things don't match. If I had one that said C and was gold colored, I would use it. But I don't have one, so que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Now we're going to go opposite sides. I'm going to be real careful with this because I got that magnet variation thing going on there. Make sure I don't shatter the magnet and have it go into the gears. I'm sure it would just chew it up and be fine, but I want a magnet in there. That's why I put a magnet in there. Alright, now we're going to go back by hand and torque these down until they really slow down and bind. And we're not going to snap them off. That's the whole point of Torx, is you want it as tight as it's supposed to be. You don't want to snap anything off. You should do the middle ones first and then work your way out and then go back and retorque the middle ones. That's the best, easiest way to do it. As I said before, que sera, sera. I don't know what that means. It's like, who is John Galt? It's just something that you say. Whatever, I don't care. I just wanted to have a project. I was kind of curious about rebuilding these, so I kind of took this one on. Plus, my neighbor who's old wants a riding lawnmower and doesn't trust himself to buy a used one and doesn't want to pay the money to get a new one. So I thought maybe I could hook him up somehow. Alright, so here's where we are now. It's all rebuilt, it's ready to go. We just need to pour oil into our filler hole here. You got to see this filler hole. It's a sight to behold. You're already going to be able to see yours easy, but see that little side goes into the pump and motor assembly, and then this big side all goes into the differential side. So they spill across when you fill it up the same, but then once you're done, you filled it up and you drop your magnet in there. Basically your magnet's going to sit flat and plug the hole. Now, as this gets hot and needs to vent, it's going to burp the magnet and just air is going to pass across. But the magnet's going to pretty much stop the contaminants in the gear mesh shavings from going from this side into this side. That's a pretty cool idea. Way to go, guys. And then any hot mess of air, you know, expansion, contraction, heat up, cool down that happens, this vent's going to allow that to burp to the environment. But if it gets in a flood, the water goes up past this, and as long as the tractor's level, it's not going to get water into the transmission and cross your fingers. It's all pretty cool. So let's put some oil in it, shall we? So it takes a little over 2 quarts, I'm told, so I ordered in 3 of these. They didn't have them in stock at my local O'Reilly's. I really seem to like using lately. They hire good people. I used to work at AutoZone nights back around 2001 till like 2008. I worked there for like 7 years while I was going to college and doing my thing. But they used to hire quality people. I mean, I was multilingual, I had a strong mechanical background, and their pay was pretty good, you know, for part-time work and all that sort of thing. Eventually, what ultimately made me quit is their scheduling was just stupid. I mean, I'd ask for a day off and they'd leave it up to the computer whether or not I got the day off. So I'm like, would you guys inform the computer that I don't work here anymore? And up yours, basically. I'm like, I loved Bojo. I loved helping people. I was really fast and efficient and good at it, and people would come in, they'd want to just see me. But AutoZone decided, you know what, we don't want to pay that great, and we don't really want to hang on to anybody anymore. We want to impress the shareholders. And so it seems like the people that have, or the store that has good people, at least in this area, is O'Reilly's. They still, you know, like they're taking AutoZone's old business plan that they built the AutoZone empire on, and they're using it. And AutoZone's of the opinion, at least I see evidence to suggest so, and I'm of the opinion that they don't invest in their people anymore. When I worked there, I got a bunch of my ASE certifications paid for by them, so I got to do them for free because they invested in their people. But nowadays it's like you go in there, and I've encountered employees, at least locally, that were in no way, shape, or form fit to change light bulbs, let alone pull parts off the shelf with any kind of accuracy or provide any information that was helpful in any way. It was just like, holy cow, you are terrible. You know, stocking the shelves with the wrong part number at the wrong label, and then somebody gives me that. And it's like I had to double check and triple check and be a parts expert in order to get the right part there. At O'Reilly, I call, I say, hey, I need this, take care of it. And they say, just a sec, I'm writing it down. Yeah, I love it when people write it down. Or I'm double checking, or let me look on the shelf. It's like they give a ding, which is awesome, because if they screw up, it can really cost me a lot of time and money and all that kind of stuff, getting the part again, you know, or reordering it or something. 2 quarts, pretty, it seems like it's full, but the more I pour in, it's not going out. I'm looking for a puddle on the workbench and I don't see one anywhere. But as I pour it in, this side fills up first, and then it spills over into here and it's not full. So what you need to be doing is looking in the window for the differential side instead of discussing AutoZone versus O'Reilly. No, but seriously, when I first came on to AutoZone, it's like they wanted the very best people. And I got snatched up, and then they cultivated me and they made me even better. You know, like I say, with the motivation of doing the ASE certifications and the trainings, and like any stupid little training they would throw at me, I was all over it. I would totally do it. Okay, we're full. With AutoZone, they had the 10 commandments of AutoZone or something like that, and they said customers number 1, and we believe in providing a good service. And I'm all about that. I'm all about helping people. I'm about good service. I love this place. You know, just, you know, 1 through 10, we got the right parts at the right price. I was, yeah, good price is great. Everything was great. And then the 10th commandment, number 10, was all of the above aren't worth a damn if we can't stay in business to provide the above 9 or whatever to our customers. You know, we can't help them. We can't be this awesome glowing light to the world of, you know, great auto parts if we don't make a profit. You know, basically we got to do it to stay in business. You know, and that was like the last commandment. I'm like, that's cool. We got some priorities here in the right order and all this kind of stuff. And then the owner of AutoZone, his daughter got sick with cancer. He had to step away from it. And when that happened, you know, stuff hit the fan, basically. So here's what I'm going to do. If I put 2 of these magnets together, they are going to hold hands like nobody's business. And with 2 of them, we're sporting a double wide, 6, pun intended. And it can't go through the hole, and I am happy with it. Can't go through this way, can't go through any other way, we're good. 2 of them, done. Can air pass? You bet. Can it fall over onto its side? Absolutely. We're in great shape. So then we're going to put our cap on. So yeah, the owner of AutoZone, his daughter got sick. He's like, I don't want to be the CEO, family-owned business, awesome, family-owned, not this corporate greed bullshit. So basically, after that, policies started changing. They started getting all cheapskate, and just, oh my gosh, it's like, it felt like I was working under a microscope. We got falsely accused by loss prevention of having issues with shrink when it was the distribution center's fault, and we got sweat in a meeting for like 2 hours trying to figure out who of us, of, you know, like this happy work environment, good employees, everybody loves everybody, everybody strives for excellence, we're all trying to do our best, and the end result was they're like guilt tripping us, they're treating us like criminals. And we weren't criminals, but because they were so, you know, caught up in the greed and the money and all this kind of other stuff, they didn't really ask or have the people skills to be able to see that. And eventually they came back and apologized to us, but by then we're like, yeah, we know where you're at, we know where you stand. You let us know pretty clearly in that 2 hour sweat, you know, heat lamp meeting about shrink, and they're like, what do you think our sources of shrink are? They're trying to get us to rat each other out, but there wasn't a problem with shrink locally. But it's just like, things just got worse and worse after AutoZone went public. I mean, it just got bad. So what I'm doing is I'm just turning the input shaft here, just kind of priming it. If a person wanted to, and they wanted to get the air bubbles out faster, and I'm not an expert on this, but here's what I would do. I would tip it up like this, and be prepared for this to leak a little bit. Knock that cap on. But yeah, when I went to work for AutoZone, they had free battery charging and loan a tool and empowerment, and they were there to help. They had good prices, had the right part at the right price and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. Who wouldn't want to go there? I was like, man, nobody even knows how awesome this place is. And so of course, word of mouth, they got to tell everybody, AutoZone's amazing. And they just went downhill. The parts got crappier and crappier. There's problems with things being incorrect from the distribution center. It's just everything got so lean that it was like a skinny cow. It couldn't produce any milk or meat or anything. It just got bad. I don't even go there anymore. I had so many good experiences, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it seems like O'Reilly's kind of doing the right thing now, at least in this area. They got a good manager. Alright, so cranking it, getting all the air bubbles out. The air's funny because it takes time to move through the oil to get out. You know, it can fling out, it can press out, squish out, you know, while you're running it. But sometimes just floating up and out is a really good thing. So, alright. So this is going to be a Sunday video. It's really long. Maybe I'll break it up into segments. And if you don't like something or don't want to take forever, scroll through. You got a mouse, click it, drag it. Okay, so it's time to put on our fan and our pulley and our little floppy washer that just fell on the floor. So there's a fan. It blocks the little drain plug thing. Make sure that that's in all the way so that it doesn't conflict or hit. These are rubbery and flexible and everything, but those are so itty bitty teeny tiny. Try to push one side down first, get the other side to pop over. That still works. Brakes still work. Hold on, the wrong one. Reverse and forward still work. Looks good. We're ready to slap this back in the tractor.